There we go.
All right, everybody. Happy Monday, and welcome back to the closing table for the month of July. We're here. I was about to say, look, the Three Stooges of real estate, right? But we just learned we have the Andy Rooney of real estate with us, and he is in the center, and he's the reason we're all here today. And every month, Dan Pizzi, the CEO and the man behind the master plan of NextHome Brandywine. So we're going to be hanging out today. We're going to be talking all the real estate updates for the summer, as well as it's the Hub Hour, where Hub is going to hit us.
He's going to guide us.
Questions. So hang on. We're going for a Hub ride for the next 45 to 60 minutes.
Well, it's a big task, but I think I'm up to the task. So we got to, see if I can hit it out of the ballpark.
Just get a quick update here. We are, not to be crude, but balls to the wall here since March. Hasn't stopped. Buyer demand's extremely high. And it's supply and demand pushing these house prices up, even with interest rates that have not moved from the 6.25, give or take a tenth of a point here or there. So people say they were going to sit it out. I'll say this, year over year in Westchester, 5.5% increase in prices. Over the last 2 years in Westchester, 10% increase in prices. Keep sitting it out. Unfortunately, some people might not be able to get back in. So get a professional realtor and try to jump in this thing and navigate through this process, because we are like, I don't care if it's 50,000 or $1.3 million, they're lined up for these houses. And the price points are going high because people are overbidding over and above asking price. So it's get yourself a professional realtor, because we got a lot going on right now in this market. I'm not sure how across the country's doing on a whole. I see some different things that it's hit and miss, but right now we are really it's the second busiest year I ever had. So that, and it's been that busy, and I'm usually steady. But this year, it's one of those things, those outliers where if you did a bar graph, that line is way up.
And that's a good thing.
Hub.
That's a very good thing, Dan.
Yeah, I think I don't like it crazy busy, and I'm old school, and I don't like what I'm seeing in the marketplace, how people are acting and doing things. But you just got to have to. We talked about this before. With any field you're in, experience matters. Unfortunately, when you're a rookie, you got to get that experience under your belt. There's so many moving parts in this marketplace right now. And we're running into a lot of stuff with the townships. They're trying to get people to do stuff before they sell with the use and occupancies. And there is just a lot of back office stuff that needs to be done on top of, just putting in an offer and getting your offer accepted.
Are you doing a lot of selling of houses, like for people? Are you being a seller's agent right now?
Yeah, it's a little more on the seller side right now than the buyer side, but I have 3 more listings coming on, one in Fallcroft, one in Collingdale, one in Oxford Circle in Northeast Philadelphia. They'll all be on varying times here over the next month or so. And then on the buyer side, I have 2 active right now that have actively been looking and offering, and it's been, how high do you go, right? So I always tell people this. Get a number in your head that you're comfortable with. And if you lose the house by a penny, there's no regrets. You offered your max number, you put in your best offer, because the numbers are going off the charts. I got somebody that paid $102,000 over ask.
Wow.
But how careful do you have, really strongly do you have to tell them, look, the biggest mistake is to try and ask too much. Is that right?
Yep. Yeah, and then that's a good point. I just had that point today. So one of the
you got to be careful though to tell people that, because a lot of people don't want to hear that.
Well, I know there's either 2 tactics. Either they're overpricing things or they're under. This is the new thought, which as an old timer and a Dave Stinson guy, we don't think like this. Let's price it under market value and hope to get a firestorm and raise the price over. It makes no sense to us. And if Dave was on here right now, I'd tell you the same thing. We have to price it right from the beginning. Because I had a client who was trying to sell another place out of state who's going to buy here in PA, and the realtor, younger realtor, different mentality, said let's underprice it, And guess what? It never got to the number she thought it should have went at. Why don't you just price the damn thing at the number it should go at instead of trying to be sneaky and tricky, because you don't know if you're going to get that number. The numbers are so high right now. People, if you offer 450, you have it listed for 450. It should have been listed for 485. Why would anybody offer more if there's no, like, you know what I mean? Like, unless they have to. But you offer it at 450. If it sticks, it sticks. This person was lucky they had another offer come in.
That's
it's a joke,
a dangerous chance.
It is, and it's not professional.
Right.
But they didn't actually in the end lose the money.
You know what happened, Hub? They got lucky, Hub, because a second offer came in, and they were able to play one offer against another. But Hub, suppose that second offer never comes. Now you lost margin because you tried to underprice it.
Yeah, but you want to start it at the one that you really want and that you really think you should get. Is that what you're saying?
Right. And at Hub, there's plenty of analytics out there and data that you can come up with a very close to educated decision on what that number should be, give or take a few thousand either way, right? So price it right. And if there's one in Glen Mills, and Bayer tell you it's a very high fluid area. That house is listed over $700,000. It was a DIY. It was very poorly done. And guess what that house is doing? Sitting there because it's too high and the workmanship's bad, and nothing sits in Glen Mills. And Bayer tell you that. Nothing. Yeah. Nothing sits in Glen Mills. So kind of that's where we're at.
Well, the other thing is too, is if you are going to sell a house, I think it's important to plan for it and go see your agent maybe a year before you're going to sell it, and have him look at the things that you can do to get it ready to sell in advance, because it's going to take you longer to fix those things and update those things that need to be updated. And you're going to need to know from the agent the things that you shouldn't update, or the correct things that it should be updated to. And that gets real complicated.
So Hub, what percentage you think does that anymore?
0.
Maybe,
well, I would say 3%. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I'll give you even up to 20, but we always talk about, when I was at Century 21 Absolute in Springfield, they had a little room with a round table, and your clients used to come in, and you would go in there with a yellow paper and pen, and you would sit at this table, and you would have an open discussion, just like you're saying, well in advance of someone doing something, and say, let's get on the same page and understand what your wants are, where you want to get to, what you need in the new house, what's your timeline for selling. Everybody wants to do it on the fly. Let's sit down at the old round table we used to have and have a conversation in advance, so you are more prepared when the time comes.
Okay, my guess is the optimal time, if you're going to sell a house, is go talk to your agent a year and a half before you're going to sell it.
And now, I know
that's way too idealistic, but I'm just telling you, am I right or wrong? A year and a half.
No, I mean, we a lot of people are starting to do that now. We just did a first-time home buyer seminar on the other side of the aisle.
How did that go?
It went way better than I thought. And then
I thought. I thought
on the next one, Hub's like, you're going to videotape it. We were running by the seat of our pants. We need to take the next one and be a little bit more organized. But we had 5 families, and it was, what I found interesting was everybody was diverse. I just give you one example. One gentleman was incarcerated for 7 years. He came out. He has a very good job, and he's coming up on his 2 years, because you need 2 years of verifiable income to buy a house. So that time was coming up for him where he had reestablished himself. He had 2 years of verifiable income. He made good money. He was like a site contractor for an engineering firm. And he came to the first-time home buyer seminar, Hub, not that he was ready to buy tomorrow, but to get a better understanding and get more information, so when he is ready to buy, that he'll be successful and have all those tools in his tool belt when he goes to buy the house. I was surprised we had 5 families, and they listened, and they did exactly what we're talking about. They were preparing, everybody at different stages, but preparing to buy.
Well, let me ask you this, Dan.
I'm saying preparing to sell, too.
Right, it's the same thing, right? So what do you got, Bang?
When you got a situation like that, like Hub saying how people should prepare a year and a half, like you guys did this seminar the other day, and you're giving and sharing free knowledge.
Right. Correct.
In the hopes of having them be your customer, and they're going to go through you and NextHome Brandywine. I mean, naturally, you're trying to get them locked in. Are you able 9 out of 10 times to get these people locked into a contract that they're going to stick with you, or is it an awkward situation?
Contact, Bay. If you don't stay in touch with them and you let them off the hook and you don't stay in constant contact, they'll find somebody else.
Sure.
I think what I did was immediately reached out to everybody. In fact, I have the sheet next to my computer every few weeks. I don't want to throw up on them, but every few weeks we'll touch base with people and keep the contact. What I thought was interesting at this one was Maria from Fulton Bank, who's a local bank, is getting a little bit bigger, was a Lancaster-based bank. They're becoming a mid-sized bank now.
Okay.
She had about 7 loan programs for first-time home buyers.
Wow.
Right?
Okay.
This is stuff I didn't even know. And
okay.
the Chester County Housing Partnership came, and they have grant programs for different level of incomes and stuff, but they also have a joint program with Fulton Bank. If you meet the qualifications, Felipe came from the Housing Partnership. He said you can get up to $40,000 towards closing costs. Think about it. I mean, if you buy a $300,000 house right now, your closing cost is about, depends on how much you put down, but it could be anywhere from $30,000 to $40,000. You essentially could get the majority of the closing costs covered. So the way this was presented as far as information, they really helped people, like Cub said, that are in those early stages of understanding. Mm-hmm. Fulton Bank, I mean, it was so well done. They had one of their relationship bankers come that worked on people that wanted credit repair and just understand the business side of banking a little bit better and what they need to do to prepare. He was there, Kyle, very good guy, lived in Port Richmond area. He was a city guy, really good guy. And then the manager from the local branch, they brought in Jersey. You talk about a quality organization. He brought in 2 boxes of Jersey Mike's Hoagies. The bank sponsored by, they paid for everything. People are cheap today. The library gave us the room for free. So usually they charge you. The lady was so helpful. She put stuff on the table. She got plates for us. Fulton Bank had food. We had tremendous speakers there. We had discounts to moving companies. But to Hub's point, these 5 people took it upon themselves to attend and get information in advance. None of them were ready to buy tomorrow. In advance of, because I said to them, the more information you have, I'm a numbers guy, but I want to see it on paper. I want to hear it. I want to look at it. I want to study. Like Hub, if you don't study music and you don't understand little idiosyncrasies, you're not going to be good. So put yourself in the best possible position to succeed. You know what they think? When they hook up with a realtor that we're going to run, like car sales, Bay, we're going to run them out there and get them a place and cash a check on them. I'll cultivate them. My doctor and Danny's karate master, 7 years. 7 years. So I might sell you a house on the 3rd house you look at. I might sell you a house on the 30th house you look at. But to your point, Hub, getting information from a professional realtor up front and cultivating that until you're ready is key. Buying one or selling some.
And when you buy your house, it's important to know from your realtor what kind of upgrades you can get away with and keep the value of that house, because you could actually put one oddball update in your house. Let's say it's a big gigantic island or something in your house, and that would be something that people don't want that anymore, and that would make that really hard to sell a house just from one update. So there's a lot of details to what you can do to that house to keep the value what it is.
And speaking of the numbers side of it, I always tell people, don't make repairs just to make repairs. The repair has to be fiscally responsible. So you're going to make a repair. Like you said, what would add value to the house, and how much is the repair? Because if it's only going to add $10,000, it's going to cost you $15,000 to do it. Don't bother doing it. I want to tell you this real quick too.
Yeah, but are people going to listen to you when you tell them that?
No,
they're going to say, I want something. Shit. Yeah, that's going to be the hardest thing to tell people. No, you can't buy that.
Yeah, they don't listen. I'll tell you this. My cousin calls me up. It was late Saturday night. She says, can we look at this house? in Exton, a nice highfalutin area, 685,000. I said, yeah, let me go downstairs and see if we can sneak in Sunday morning. So I see there's 17 showings on this house already. It just listed 17 showings. So I pull up the listing. I always check certain things on the listings. Now there's 17 scheduled showings. It was in a flood zone. Not only was the house in a flood zone, it was in an AE flood zone, which is the worst rating for a flood zone, which you're mandated to have. If you have a mortgage, you're mandated to have federal flood insurance. Now, 17 people are going to take their clients to this house. Many, I would assume here, not knowing because they didn't bother to look that it was in a flood zone. This agent puts remarks on the listing, and it says, you only need flood insurance if it's a federally backed loan, like an FHA loan. That is incorrect, false, and it's on the listing. It's false, bullshit, nonsense, should be removed immediately. You need to call, and I'll guarantee you anywhere around here, if it's an AE flood zone and you're in the flood zone, it's not X, 99.99% of lenders will mandate. So you need to call your mortgage professional. They need to check with the underwriter on that address if flood insurance is mandatory. You know what's going to happen with someone that buys that house if the agent doesn't tell them? Here's what's going to happen. It's going to go 2-3 weeks into the process. It's going to get to initial underwriting. And guess what? The underwriter is going to tell them you need flood insurance. Now, we'll keep it respectful, but they're effed because they're stuck in this transaction and they're going to have to pay upwards of $300 a month for flood insurance.
Let's rewind. Go ahead, say it.
The agent needs to do it. My cousin said, that's why we hired you. But it blows my mind that your agent didn't look at that. It was $685,000 house. 17 people are going to go through that house knowing it needs flood insurance. You have to pass.
How as a real estate agent, B, as a buyer, if it's labeled a house like that, yep. I don't care if it's $185,000. How are you supposed to seriously feel confident buying a home in that type of zone? Okay? Yeah, you're opening yourself up for just a nightmare because obviously it's had past problems.
And well, here's the thing, even if it hasn't, just like Downingtown, we weren't even in a flood zone. We were next to a flood zone, and I had 4 foot of water floating in my office, and Downingtown Borough was destroyed from that flood 6 years ago. 5, whatever it was. But there's no way as a realtor you can't, here's real quick. If it's outside of a flood zone, but within 250 feet of a flood zone, most lenders will still make you get flood insurance because it's close enough. You need to check with the underwriter and be sure. But I was blown away that within hours of that listing going up, there were 17 scheduled showings. So the question is here, was the agent negligent, not looking? Were they lazy? Did the buyer not do some due diligence? Who in the hell is going to go pay $700,000?
I bet both didn't even read that far in the listing where it said that.
You know why? Because Mary sends it to the realtor and says, hey, John, look at this. Let's go see it. You as the professional need to take 5 minutes to look at the goddamn thing and say, listen, I told my cousin, no go.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, I was looking at all the different areas if you're buying new houses, and I know they have areas where they're building new houses up there in the Philly area.
Yeah, we do.
They're usually about 45 minutes away. Is that right? From the city?
From Philly? Yeah. You know what happens, Hub? It's the land. The land in what they call the collar counties around Philadelphia is oversaturated. You could put a spec home in there. The only area that there's land is by me in Western Chester County. That's it. I'll tell you, you can't find no land in Delaware County anymore. Montgomery, Bucks, it's oversaturated. There's land out here, but
I saw when I was there last weekend. As soon as we got off the plane, we went right to Chicky and Pete's in South Philly. When I was coming back to get on the what's that, the Platt Street Bridge or whatever.
Yeah.
Right there at the light at the intersection where the gas station is, they put 10 homes there. It was dead area. I looked at those
That was
homes.
overseas terminal area. That was all shitfield down there. It was swampland back in the day.
Exactly.
And
Now
so they
homes
do tear down houses there and put up new ones.
They do, and there's a lot more of that going on. And I'll say this, over the next 10 years in the city of Philadelphia, if they get their head out of the rear end, you're going to see a lot more tear downs and rebuilds in Philadelphia, because the houses are getting to the point to where they were pushing 100 years old with a lot of deferred maintenance. You're going to see a lot of tear downs and rebuilds.
But they don't have like new areas where they're around, like where we have up here in north of Dallas in Frisco and McKinney and those areas. They don't have areas like that as much.
Hub, how many miles from Dallas is, say, Frisco?
Well, I'm in far north Dallas, so I would be a little closer. But we're looking at it's a 45-minute drive on the freeway with no traffic to Frisco itself. Now,
all right,
Plano,
so here about the same. We're about 50 minutes, Hub, 55 minutes to the city with no traffic. So it's about the same, and that's where they're building, out here in Westchester County, east of Lancaster.
Yeah, so it would be 50 minutes, yeah, at least, because to do that. So how do you get people to listen to you about updates and things like that, so that they don't update their house to where it's something that nobody would want to buy it with that particular update in it, and they're just wasting their money by updating their house?
Well, sometimes I always look at extreme circumstances if it's obtrusive. So for something as simple as like a parrot wallpaper, that might turn people off to where they won't buy the house because it's so ugly or hideous. Little things like that, I mean, that's a minor, right? We say, hey, listen, either paint over it or take that wallpaper down, and let's get that cleaned up. It could be as minor as that, or even, I'll give you an example. If somebody had a previous water leak in a roof and they replaced the roof, but they had stains on the ceilings, hey, you might want to patch if there's any water damage and repaint the ceilings. Your roof was replaced. You don't have any more leaks. There's some things like that. Getting into the bigger stuff, it's, can you turn at least 2 times what you put into it, profit on it? If not, I tell people don't bother doing it. Just maximize your return and let the person come in and do it.
Well, I think, wouldn't you want, like, isn't you like you say, wallpaper, painting, those little small things like that? Those are hugely important to make sure that your house sells quickly. Is that right?
Yeah, and I think the second leg of that is maximizing your return on your profit margin. So again, like, you want it to sell quickly, but you also want it to sell for, the most net profit to the seller. And you got to look at each case. Some people go in, Hub. I'll give you a quick example. The people I go to at the diner, 7T's, Richie, who owns it, sister was selling. Her husband died. She wanted to sell the house. You have to understand the circumstances. Long story short, a guy went in there and told her to put like $75,000 into the house. His wife was a designer, this and that, and then he would get X for the house. He told her he would get like $475,000. I sold the house for $455,000 or $460,000 as is, with no repairs, in one day. So why would you put all that money in when you could just sell it and maximize your return?
Yeah, but see, that you got to understand too, is that every field has these people who are like fashion experts.
Correct.
And when you work at a job, you should not, people who really know what they're talking about say, let's say these are fashion experts, or say this is a different subject, but it applies. A fashion expert is not the person you want to listen to, because he's not on what's called he's not the realtor on the ground. The realtor on the ground really knows what's doing, and the fashion expert is in an ivory tower, and he's in all this knowledge of highfalutin knowledge that the average person doesn't care about.
And here's the thing too, you have to read the room, understand the circumstances. Like the circumstance I just mentioned, her husband just died. Did she feel like doing a bunch of renovations to the house before she sold it? Understand the audience, because some people might, Hub, want to try to do a few things before they sell it. Like my friend, she sold the father's house. Her brother was living there. The house wasn't to the standard it used to be when they all lived there. And she wanted that house restored to the standard her mother had it before she sold it, because that's the way she wanted it to go down. My job is to maximize your return on investment.
That's called the law of diminishing returns. You put a whole bunch more into it, and you lose from what you put into it.
That's a very good point.
Because the average person is, I mean, like for instance, the park cities are actually the highest, probably some of the richest parts of Texas, the whole state of Texas. You probably know about the park cities. That's where SMU is and all that.
Yeah.
And they'll do all kinds of stuff. But I mean, you can have the fanciest house, like super old, and they'll go in there and just tear it down and bring a new house in there, because money is not a question for the people that move into there.
We just had one down in Chester County. I had another one down there I sold. This guy paid almost $1 million and he knocked the place down.
Yeah. And
because of the area, like you said, Hub, the money's no object. They want to be there. Object. They had the people I had that overbid. The money wasn't the issue. It was checked most of the boxes of what they need, so they were willing to come up.
What was the bid, like something like that, bidding over 100,000 to get?
It was up for 700.
What was so important to them to go that high on that?
Well, what happened was it was in the neighborhood everybody wants, which is just south of the university hub, Westchester University, which is growing a ton. So the location was excellent. The house was a ranch on an acre, which was, you don't have many ranches that are in plus condition, right? So this was not quite a raised ranch, but it was a ranch with a full basement. The guy was a contractor. He redid the whole house. Now, the kicker was he put up about 1,600 square foot pole barn garage. That was, in fact, he put rug in it. He had his daughter's wedding in there with a loft, with a TV, with an air pump. So if you're somebody with a lot of cars, right, and you want the creature comforts of and Hub would love it from a tool perspective, a garage that had everything you would need. In fact, he had these different water lines. He had the whole, where he had a built-in compressor where you could just hook up the hose and bring the compressor anywhere in the garage. You put a lift in there, you have everything. So the finalists on this house were all car people. The people that bought it had numerous cars. The finalists were people that said, this garage, now that garage, that garage was built 7 or 8 years ago. If you built that now, got to be 80 grand. So
I mean, that's bigger than my house right now.
It's crazy. And here's the thing. Some people might not want that. We talked about like why you would do. Some people don't need that garage. They wouldn't want that garage. So it was only value. There was only value there if somebody actually wanted that, and that was a creature comfort that was a value add to the buyer, right? I mean, so not everybody would want that garage, but the house had, for somebody that was like in their 50s that were kind of trying to downsize, and if you like cars, you had the garage. And then the house had some great outdoor areas, covered porch right off the kitchen and the family room, nice walkways, an addition on the basement. Basement had a full bathroom and a bedroom, which was gorgeous downstairs. So, and it went on early market. So everybody was hot in that house went from $699 to $801.
Wow.
Yeah, but Bay, if we had a car collection like that, if we were Richard Rawlings, I mean, we'd be in heaven there.
Absolutely.
I met an old timer that had a car collection that was there. He was probably late 60s. He wanted it. He lost the bid to my people. He wanted it. And because they wanted the garage space. Another thing is, if you need storage, the entire upstairs, full flight of steps, like 16 steps, so an elevated height, I think it was 12-foot garage door, 6 inches of concrete. You had a whole loft upstairs. It was ginormous upstairs. So when you have a ranch, sometimes you don't have the storage. If you need storage, this was a whole nother value add. So it's all what people want, right? It's all what people deem important to them,
and what's practical for what their hobbies are.
Correct.
And the other thing too is, like for instance, people will spruce up their front yards, but the real thing that really needs to be kept basic, either that or made is for the women is they want the bathroom to be how they want it, and they also want the kitchen to be how they want it. And some women, they insist that they have two dishwashers, which I think when I was thinking about it, two dishwashers would be fantastic for anybody.
So check this out. That's why you have to sit down with the yellow pad and find out what people want, right?
Do you see that a lot, the two dishwasher thing?
Well, guess what? I just saw something that's a portable dishwasher countertop now, that it holds maybe six place settings, but it's a countertop. You stick it on the countertop, you hook it up to your faucet, and the hose drains into your sink. Now you have a second dishwasher.
That's going to take up more space.
I've seen one in the island hub and one in the regular cabinet section.
The other thing they said too, as far as fads are concerned, is that islands have gone bonkers with islands, and they're actually not as popular as they used to be. And they overdid the islands. They made them too big. They put ovens in them, which was not a good idea to put ovens in an island, because but the microwave drawer is okay in there. But as far as a full-on oven in the island, and they've made them too big, and so nowadays they're tearing out a lot of those islands that they used to have in there.
So I'll tell you this: the one I was telling you about that was $700,000. Everybody's pantsing on. They made the kitchen elevated 2 steps up. They made the kitchen, new kitchen they put in. But what they did was, to Hub's point, they put this huge island, enormous island. It had to be 16 feet, but there's no room for a table. So then if you want to eat, you got to step down 2 steps into the dining room, and you have to carry the food, and you're going to drop food all over the damn place because you constantly have to go up and down steps. So they overdid the island, which probably was a poor choice for the space that kitchen was in.
Why didn't they think about that before?
They don't, Hub, the shit I see, and you say, why did they do it? Like, what was I just in? Oh, I was in one today. It's so goddamn busy, I don't even know where I'm at. It was a 1-bedroom. It was $250,000. When you walked in, there was a little tiny sitting area, then the kitchen, and then a little room and 1 bedroom upstairs. So I go in the house. I walk the whole house before they got there. I don't know where the bathroom is, and I go, where is the bathroom in this house? I can't find it. It said 1 bathroom. The bathroom was behind the kitchen. So your bedroom's upstairs. You have to go through your kitchen, and behind the kitchen was a door, and that was the only full bathroom in the house. Who the hell designed that?
That's going to be an old house, though, huh?
It was. But even then, Hub, who designed that house with only 1 bathroom behind the kitchen? No sense. None. And the kitchen wasn't redone, so it wasn't like they reconfigured the place. It was the way it was laid out.
Well, see, the thing is my thought is just getting started, being a first-time homeowner, is my thing was thinking, why do they put things in that are very hard to reverse? Once you make it that way, how do you change it back if you don't like it?
And then, Hub, they want top dollar, and there's no way for the consumer to reconfigure some of this shit. And I'm trying to be polite when I give the feedback. But I really want to write on the feedback. What am I going to do with this shit? Who wants this? What do you do with this? At $250,000? What are you going to do with that house?
Do you think something like that, it's more or less like it's all about the property, the land itself?
This one it's another good point, right? That's why we're on this thing. Double lot, that
good
was.
Point.
Bay, double lot. It was 2 tax parcels. It was a double deep, one in the front, one in the back. So there was another lot. We talked about this earlier. How much does that second lot have value to the potential buyer? Could you get an easement to build on that? But at $250,000, the number has to make sense, because the second lot could be useful or could just be a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
So what did it sell for?
It's still up $250,000. It's a 1-bedroom up for $250,000, and it's in Count Township. It's a nice little section. It's an older neighborhood, but it's not super affluent back there.
But it hasn't sold yet?
No, I just took a buyer there today, but the house made no sense to me. It wasn't for my guy. My guy's a young buyer.
Yeah, but somebody will buy it. Somebody will buy it.
I'm going to be interested in seeing
especially at that price. Somebody will buy it, because that has potential.
I feel like it's high though for a 1-bedroom. Was it 2-bedroom with a double lot? It was a little bit configured better. I could see it, but right now you can't even buy a 1-bedroom for $250,000 out here.
Yeah, but how hard and how much would it cost to put one more bedroom on it and one more bathroom?
That place was a hot mess. I mean, it'd be $100,000.
Wow.
Depends on how you do it, but you know, some of these houses, like let's say they're 80s houses, they say, well, we got to open this out.
Right,
so we got to make they take a wall out, so 2 rooms now become 1 big room.
Yeah, and they're doing a lot of that here.
Yeah, but then they complain about it because now the kids can't go into a separate room to be quiet.
We talk about that all the time. That's a good point too.
So I don't think they ever should have started doing that. What do you think?
Well, here's another thing. You're buying them for top dollar, and then you're adding costs because you want to open them up like an open concept new house. But then we just went to see one with my cousins, and it had a design like that, and they have a little boy, and they said, like, there's no playroom for him. Certain people need certain things. And you know what else we get into? Multi-generational families. So some people need different configurations depending on who's going to live there. All that comes into play.
Okay, what about this? This is one I really don't agree with, is painting the brick.
I hate painting brick. My family will kill you if you paint brick. My mom's
Well, they do it a lot here.
all the time. It destroys the brick. And painting concrete's even worse because paint seals the pores in the concrete and then it cracks.
Well,
they do that here
I don't
too.
know, but there are concrete houses. That's not as common as stucco. And the stucco that you have here is different than Southern California. The stucco here has to be able to meet the cold standards when it freezes. The stucco
Old
they use in
school
California
stucco will do that. New stucco will not. What they put out here, which is getting flagged all the time, is the new stuff.
So it cracks when there's snow and stuff?
Well, what happens is there's no vapor barrier, and the moisture gets trapped, and then you get mold. That's what happens with this new stucco. My grandfather was a stucco expert.
Okay, so these houses where I live, they have on some of them, like a lot of houses, they're painting the brick. Okay, now this is not good because the brick in this neighborhood was very, very, very artistic, and it was also very collectible, nice brick. Okay, so they think that's the new fad. I don't know how if they need to get it off.
They want a new look.
Okay, but these houses have been here since 1979 or thereabouts, and so there's one house, and they sort of wanted more privacy in the front, maybe with less windows, and so they put this stone thing in front of that, on the front instead of painting the brick. You know, I mean, this is like getting a certain haircut, and it's so weird, it's harder to get a girlfriend.
Yeah. Well, and it changes the aesthetics of your community too.
Well, yeah, but now the brick, the stone thing, I think is better than painting the brick.
I do
though.
too.
And then there's another house where it had been sort of dilapidated. Instead of putting the stone thing in the front, they put a stucco thing in the front.
Okay.
Like a stucco wall
Finish.
in front of the house. I'm sure you've seen this stuff done all the time. Is that right?
Oh yeah, we've seen just about everything.
Yeah, because it would be harder on a house to live up north than it would be down here.
Yeah, and there's different standards because of the cold conditions and stuff like that too, of what people want.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's just like the other thing that, pipe in if you need to say anything about this, Bay, about these housing trends or fads that we're talking about here.
Absolutely.
So you think you got any ideas on this?
I'm listening.
He's
and taking
listening
it all
away
right
over there.
Yeah.
Well,
But you know what it is too? Look at the cost side of it, Hub. Look at the cost side of it. When you're buying a house for X amount of dollars and you want to do enhancements like that, what's it going to cost you? What's the value going to be after that's done?
The main thing is look, the average even in this neighborhood, okay, these houses are 500 and up in this neighborhood. We got 600,000. We got the average house is probably 600,000 in this neighborhood now.
What's the median for that area, though? What's the median across your section of Texas? What do the median prices look like?
Well, it runs the gamut, but I'm just telling you, is they're probably 500,000 in this whole section
Okay.
right here. Okay, if it's a house, but it runs the gamut because there's pockets of everything. But when I would go to estate sales and they would have the wall paneling, like the 1970s wall paneling, and the women say, "Oh, that's the most terrible thing, the wall paneling." Okay, and I can't stand. It's like having a mullet haircut. You can't have a mullet haircut
Right.
anymore because
We're painting the
you got
paneling up
business
here.
in the front and party in the back. So
Right.
they've got these wall paneling, and so they have to they just believe they have to take it out, but that's a big job to take that out.
We paint it up here a lot now. They're painting it.
Yeah, they paint.
See
But
the
you
paneling
take
you have? They're painting
what?
it. They're
Well,
see that
painting
paneling,
it.
that wood paneling, the good
Yeah.
wood like you have behind you. They're painting it.
Well, no, this is actually redwood 1x6s that tongue and groove, sort of like shiplap.
Oh yeah, it looks beautiful actually.
It's real redwood, California redwood. In fact, I was talking to a construction guy. I actually bought some flooring from him, and he said, "Oh, I'm from Wisconsin, and we have lots of redwood. This is a redwood house." He said, "There's lots of redwood. There's lots of redwood houses in Wisconsin."
Okay.
And I looked on you know why? Because it's a straight freeway route from Northern California.
I got you. So all that wood got trucked up there.
Yeah, and so there's lots of, and like one in the Hotel Coronado on the Coronado Island in San Diego, there was a redwood building. They were going to tear it down. They went in there and started to tear it down. They went, "Oh man, this is all redwood. We can't do that." So then they stopped and they started disassembling that building real slowly.
Yeah. Well, there's money there, right?
The redwood is, I mean, see, they're different. Like we have a bathroom and it's knotty pine with this same kind of wood, the same size of 1x6s that fit together. But the redwood doesn't have knots in it because it doesn't have like the little tiny branches all over the place.
Right.
Or medium-sized branches. The redwood tree might be 20 feet wide.
No, right.
Yeah.
Well, before we get out of here, Bay, I want to touch on a little bit of wrestling here real quick before we wrap this up this week. Bay came into town. I missed it because I've been working like a donkey.
And Coco was with me. You missed it.
For the I just couldn't. I had worked the whole night before. I was supposed to have a showing. It got canceled. I couldn't get up there in time. I just flat out couldn't move. They had the documentary on Tri-State Wrestling Alliance. Bo was in here last week for it. How many people showed up?
Actually, it was a nice crowd. There was probably between 60 to 75 people there.
That's pretty good.
When we pulled up, there was a line of at least 30 people already in line.
Yeah, it looked like a nice turnout.
It was a
do
very
a lot
nice.
Of pictures with people.
I did. I was actually I said this on a podcast the other night I was interviewed on. I was actually very overwhelmed because there was a good number of people there wearing Chubby Dudley or CWO shirts and hats, and I was very, very overwhelmed. Chubbies. So it was, but
people don't forget though that he had a big footprint on on the wrestling community here that people don't realize. That's why I get my back up, because I think a lot of people think they sold it, but they didn't see a lot of what it was.
Well, when you went to Philly a year or so ago, he said Dan was at a restaurant with you, and he said people were constantly coming up and wanting to talk to you and get your picture and all that. I said, yeah. I said, Bay is real popular there. So, and he said, and Dan said,
luckily,
Dan wrote, he really is really popular.
Locally here, people remember that stuff.
I will say this about the movie overall. As soon as it was over, I turned to Coco and said, this was the absolute best wrestling documentary I've ever seen in my life. And you don't have to be a wrestling fan to enjoy this movie, because the story is unbelievable. The way he did it,
and it's legit. When's it coming out
legit.
for everyone to see?
today. The
Where they
press release.
publishing it?
So I talked to Ryan Cavanaugh, who made the movie a couple days last week. His first documentary he got it. It's streaming on Amazon Prime, pretty sure. And that took him like a month or two to get it on there. Now it's a whole new process. It takes a year to get it on there. There's a backlog, I guess, of a year to get on there. So he found another site just to put it on for the time being until it gets on streaming. So it's available as of today. I shared the link out on social media.
Look at that if you want to see it.
You can rent it. You get the rental for 48 hours. It's $15 to rent it. It's well worth it. We're gonna head out and go grab dinner, an early dinner and all. And I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna watch it again. I can't wait. It is such an emotional roller coaster ride. It's an unbelievable movie. And Bill Apter was there. People know who Bill Apter is.
I love Bill Apter. How old that son of a bitch? 80?
He's got to be pushing mid-late 70s, I guess. But he said the same thing. He did a video on Monday praising it, saying it's the best wrestling documentary ever made.
That's fantastic. We had a chance to go down to the Super Show down at the old Atlantic City Convention Center a couple weeks ago. Danny and I for Raw and SmackDown.
Oh
cool to be down there. That building's still spectacular.
That's crazy.
I love being down the old AC Convention Center. I mean, it was they fixed that place up.
Really?
It's like 90 years old.
It's a legendary place.
And it was packed. I mean, packed. You couldn't move in there. So if anybody thinks that wrestling is dead, we were lined up down the boardwalk to get in. All the way down the boardwalk, the line to get into that event.
I've said this the last couple of years. I feel WWE is on par, if not more popular than the NFL.
I think people drove to Atlantic City from New York, from Maryland, all over the place, man.
We had a guy I know. He drove for the movie premiere from Staten Island. He left his house 5 a.m. that morning.
Think about it. That thing was at 9 a.m. in the morning.
9 a.m. He was there. We were pulling up, and Coco's like, I think Magic Mike's here. I'm like, get the fuck out of here. I'm like, he's not coming from Staten Island this early. Lo and behold, him and his girlfriend
3-hour
were
ride, probably two and a half hours.
Absolutely.
Do you think that martial arts has also made wrestling more popular?
Yeah.
Good point. I think the mixed.
UFC.
The MMA mixed fighting side, that's a whole nother animal.
Yeah, but don't you think that some of those fans might cross over into that too, or they wouldn't?
I mean, they might.
I do. Especially, we don't because we're old school, but now that WWE sold out to whatever that mixed martial arts, the ownership group now, some of that crosses over. I just think I have my Danhausen shirt on. You are cursed. The best. Isn't he the greatest? He's my favorite. It's my wife thinks it's ridiculous.
Every time he comes on screen, I smile. It makes me happy. Did you
see him at Saturday night's main event?
I saw some clips. I have to go back.
Did you see what happened? Real quick, and we'll get out of here. He had his box, his machine thing.
Yeah.
So he puts a black cat in the box, and out comes Cat from the New York
Knicks. Yeah.
It was hilarious.
Yeah.
So he gets this black cat, he throws it in there, and then Corey Anthony Towns comes out of the box and comes. That whole ending for the New York people. Put it this way: I'm so busy and so stressed with everything. I go back to watching wrestling for my mindless entertainment.
Sure.
Because it's just fun. It's bullshit. Danhausen's bullshit, but it's fun. It's mindless entertainment. It takes you away from the daily rigors of doing this type of job. So let's wrap this up. Lancaster Stormers, there's tickets available. I just gave out tickets for Friday night. Bay, I sent you a bunch of posts. Did you see all the posts I sent you?
I did. As a matter of fact, it's scheduled. I think it's.
There's a shit ton I sent you.
I have it scheduled to go out, I think, right after. In about 45 minutes, it's scheduled to go out.
There's a bunch. They sent us a bunch of advertising for their upcoming homestand over there. So check that out. we talked about Dallas real estate, Bays in Tennessee. National referrals are there for everybody. I have someone in your area. I have plenty of people in Dallas, plenty of people across Tennessee. So we can help you all 50 states. We were just bought, whatever you want to say, the last couple of months with EXP. So a huge financial backing for NextHome. So we're now powered by EXP. New agent came on this month, Pat Langen. He already did a deal. I got another girl coming on, Brooke. So we're starting to grow the team a little bit.
Nice.
People are seeing that the real estate's popping. So we're starting to grow, and hopefully we get more people in the field promoting the brand and NextHome Brandywine in general. Awesome. All right, gentlemen, any last thoughts? We'll wrap this up. Bay's going to dinner. Hub is going swimming. Hub, you're real quick. You're going swimming. Where are you going? I can't wait. This is going to close out the show.
No, have a pool.
It's backyard.
Oh.
No, it's actually in the side yard.
Yeah.
It's going to side yard. Above ground or in ground?
In ground. It's a pretty big pool.
His Airbnb is the pool house.
Why don't we time it? Why don't we go into Texas and go swimming in Hub's pool?
Right?
It'd be great this time of year. I mean, it's a pretty big pool too. It's an old pool built in 1965, but it still works really well.
Yeah, they're good too. They're all cement. They're probably solid built pools.
Yeah. See, my dad didn't buy the cheap one either. He bought because he was an engineer. Like you were talking about that guy who came in and he's going to sell his house or buy a house a year from now or so. Well, he's an engineer, right. I think you said.
Right.
So those guys are always thinking ahead like that.
Right. Absolutely.
And so, and my dad bought something. He was analyzing everything. You know what I'm saying?
I wonder who Hub takes after.
Yeah.
Miss Ann's good. We get Miss Ann's good.
She's good. Yeah.
Awesome. Good. Make sure you pass her
how's
regards.
Your wife is Julie? Is that right?
Julie. Yeah. She's gone crazy. Joe's home for 7 weeks, so we got to juggle. So my disabled son's home. He's done his camp, so he's home until September. So it's always a crazy time of year for us. So, Bay, make sure you tell Coco too that I try to catch up with you guys. One of these times you fly in here. I know you only come in for a day or two, and you got to get right back.
It was crazy this time.
I don't know how you do that.
36 hours.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's craziness. Yeah. You didn't fly a Velo? Next time you come up here, fly a Velo. In the Delaware.
I gotta write that down.
It's cheap and they're great.
How long did you stay there, Bay?
Literally like 36 hours.
That's it. I didn't get to see him. He flies in and flies out. He's a celebrity. He's like on the red carpet.
I'm going to Las Vegas. Did you have any autograph photos or anything?
What's that?
Did you sign any autograph photos?
I did. People were asking me to sign pictures of us together from One and Done and DVD copies of One and Done.
That's nice. Yeah. At least you weren't in there for one day like some people, and then they think they're superstars. I have to laugh.
Shots fired. Fired.
They fall off the top rope, and now they're famous. They won ECW. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
Too funny. You guys got to watch this documentary. If you do, please let me know what you think.
I'm gonna. You have it on your social media. I'm gonna look it up.
Yeah.
All right, listen. Let's get out of here. Appreciate it. I'm going to Vegas 8th to the 13th of August, so we'll jump in on that podcast right after I get back.
Nice, guys. Everybody, you heard it. You know it. No questions need to be asked. The answer is right here. NextHome Brandywine and Dan Pizzi for all your real estate needs. Of course, not even just in the Philadelphia area, Chester County, Lancaster, etc., but nationwide, he's got your back. He can help you out. So, nexthomebrandywine.com. Go there right now or on the social medias.
Or you can text like everybody else says. Yeah. Thank you, everybody. We'll talk to you next month.
See ya.
See ya, Hub.
See ya.